Hello English learners, welcome back to another English with Michael video. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you decided to click on this video today because we are talking about a very important topic. Today I want to talk about gap fillers. These are so important if you want to sound natural in your English, but I'm going to give you some examples of a gap filler in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to talk about why we use them and why you should use them too. So first of all, we use them to kind of give you some more time to think about what you're going to say. Probably it's the same in your language, wherever you're listening to this from. But it's a good way to kind of give yourself time to think without making the other person uncomfortable. So if you use no gap fillers, you have so many pauses in your speech, and the other person who you're talking to might be a bit uncomfortable, you know? Some of the gap fillers have meanings, but not all of them. It really is one of the best things you can do. It's such a small thing, but it's going to make a huge difference to how you sound to other people. So I highly recommend checking out this video and listening till the end. But let me give you one example. So which of these sentences sounds better to you? Well, I would say... So, in my personal opinion, I think it's not a good idea. Or, it's a bad idea. So the meaning was exactly the same, but of course the first one sounds more natural and less annoying as well. So today I'm going to cover some really common gap fillers and how you can use them. I'm going to look at some single words and some phrases at the end as well. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some advice on how you can practice using them. And I'll be doing it too in my language learning, so you will not be alone. Well, the first one is well. W-E-L-L. This most commonly is used to show that you're thinking about something. For example, well, I suppose that's okay, but as long as you're back before 10. So that well gave me time to think. Well, let me think. Something like that. So whenever you are making a decision or you're trying to think about a tricky thing, you can use well. Well, in my opinion... Okay, the next one is I mean. I mean, this one I use with my friends all the time. It's almost become like a meme. We use it so often. First of all, it's really useful for correcting mistakes in a sentence. So I could say, for example, it costs about £1,000,000. So I corrected myself, and I mean is just telling the other person that what I said first was not correct. Very useful in that way. The way that I often use it is before I'm going to state my opinion, especially when I think the other person may not agree with my opinion. So it's really good for prefacing a controversial opinion. Here's one example. I mean, I really love my job, but I just hate my coworkers. So I'm being very honest, and I'm saying I mean to indicate that it might not be a good thing to say. Here's another one with two friends. Friend number 1, I love pizza. Number 2, I mean, I prefer pasta. So they're kind of worried their friend might be upset that what, you don't like pizza? So they're kind of saying I mean to have a little bit of hesitation there. The next ones, probably you have these in your language too, although if you're from like an Asian country, then maybe not. But this is all of these sounds. They don't really have any meaning, of course. And just when you're hesitating, when you can't think what to say, we often just go, all these weird sounds like that. For example, I guess you're right, but I'm not sure. So there's hesitation there. However, for many people, it can be quite annoying, especially if you use it too much. This is something I always try to avoid myself. So I prefer, very simple, So it's very similar, but it's less annoying because this is kind of a sound of thinking. It's like you're deeply contemplating and thinking about what the person is saying. Well, that's a good question. So it sounds like you're much more interested rather than just the that kind of sounds like maybe you don't know what you're saying. So we could say, stroking your chin. What should we have for dinner tonight? What should I eat tonight? So I like that one. I think it's a nice one to use. The next one is like. You know, like. Like is often used for exaggeration or to kind of roughly count something. And also notice I just said kind of as well. Kind of, which we can talk about in a minute. But say I had a lot of chocolate. I could say, I had like 100 pieces of chocolate. Of course I didn't really have 100, but I had so many, I'm exaggerating, making it sound more impressive. Like signifies that I'm exaggerating. So if anyone asks me how many subscribers I have, I'll say, I have like 100,000? Definitely not true. However, again, using like too much can be annoying. So I recommend only using it when you need to kind of show that you're exaggerating, but don't overuse it. That's my advice. I did just mention kind of. Now this is so common. We use it all the time. In my podcasts, for example, me and my guest, I notice we always say kind of. So again, the purpose of this is just to give you some time to think. It's kind of right, and also to kind of give some uncertainty. I think this is one of the hardest ones to get the hang of, but maybe when you're not completely confident with what you're saying, or you need a little extra second to think, you could just throw in a kind of. I'm a really big fan of kind of romance movies and kind of horror movies too. The next word is you know. You know. So this is another one we use all the time, and it can be used to kind of signify that the other person already knows what we're saying. But really, I mean, in my experience, I find it's often just used to stall when you need time to think. Sometimes it has no meaning, in my opinion, but it depends on the context. So here's one example. I love being in the hot weather and just enjoying the sun. So in that case, I know that you agree, and I'm saying, come on, you know that I'm right. And here's another one. Well, I just don't agree. I think going to war is a bad idea. So in this case, it doesn't really have much meaning. It's just us trying to get our opinion across to the other person and giving us some time to think about it as well. Okay, here's a few quick phrases you can use. First one, come to think of it. Come to think of it. This is used when you have a new idea about something, especially in the middle of your conversation. Oh, I really want to go to the doctor's. Come to think of it, my friend is a doctor. Next one, I would say. Really useful, I would say. This is used when you want to share your opinion about something. But because we're using the word would, it's much more polite than just saying your opinion. So you could say, English is the hardest language. That sounds very definite, like a fact. To show that you're stating an opinion, you could say, I would say that English is the hardest language. It's more polite and shows it's your opinion. As far as I can tell. This is used when you're fairly sure of what you're saying and what you're saying is true, but maybe not 100%. So you want to preface by giving that disclaimer. So as far as I can tell, she's speaking Spanish, but I might be wrong. The last one is, how can I put it? Or let's put it this way. So we say put it. That's how can I say it? How can I put this? So this is kind of used when you need time to think about how to structure your sentence. So really you're saying to the other person, okay, give me 2 seconds to think about how I'm going to say that. How can I put it? So here's an example. So, how can I put it? Well, when a mummy and a daddy love each other very, very much. I think you see where I'm going with this, don't you? But that might be something that parents tell their children one day. Okay, that was a good list of words and phrases you can use to give yourself time to think in a conversation. Hope it was useful. As promised, I'm going to give you one quick way to practice them. And this is something that I am using too in my Japanese learning. So we'll be doing this together. It's quite simple, but next time you have a conversation, especially if it's with a teacher or language partner, then make it your goal to practice just one of these fillers and maybe set a goal for yourself. Like, I want to use this like 5 or 10 times or something like that. And you could even let your partner know of your plan. So if you're using it incorrectly, they can kind of give you some advice on what you're doing wrong. Once you can practice this in conversation, it will be much easier to remember, because it really is something you need to practice in talking. It's not something you can only practice in writing. So I hope that's a good idea, simple idea for you to learn it. I'm going to end the video here today, but thank you so very much for watching. I really hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. See you later.